Well, I would like to welcome WriteOn Juliet Writers Club here for this evening. This is our second time doing this. For those of you, you'll have to sit closer, Jean. You have to sit up closer, honey. This is our second time hosting the writing club, so we're very happy that they had come back and offered their second, well, not their second book, their sixth book, and you're on your seventh already, right? Yes. So we're very grateful, very humbled by the opportunity that they've given us, on top of the fact that Angie, who is a community business owner, had purchased the sixth anthology to give to you guys. So see how honored you are? A round of applause for Angie. And we wanted to do this a little differently. And you also will, you can also take one of the ornaments that we made with the book, a copy of the book in there. So, of course. Thank you. And we hope you enjoy it. So the authors, all the authors that you see here this evening are part of the book that you received today, the sixth anthology. So they'll be giving a little snippet of their story, and then at the very end, if you'd like to have your book signed, please feel free to come on up and talk and chat. There are snacks and drinks in the back, so help yourselves to those things. Just chew quietly when they're talking.
And I will just very quickly introduce you to the authors you have here tonight. And they are the ones who are represented in the anthology that you'll be receiving tonight. First one is Ed Hawkins, also known as Steward of Tara, don't ask. Holly Coop. Sue Midlock. Angie, and I'm not quite sure how to say your name. Agater. Angie Agater, who is working on a book. Dwayne Walton.
Sure.
Lindsay, and I have just forgotten your last name.
Lindsay Lake.
Lindsay Lake.
And I got behind the
And Colleen Robbins. We are an adult critique group of all genres, of all different publishing experiences. Some of us are just starting out in our writing. Some of us have been published in magazines. Some of us self-publish. Some of us are with small presses. But all of us share a desire to improve our skills and then look for the people who want to read our words as we support each other on the journey. So I'm going to, I think the best way to just read excerpts would be just to start on the end and work our way down. So Ed wants to go first, and then Holly will follow. And I think maybe give just maybe a couple words of just, your name, what you like to write, and then just a little background on, 5 minutes of reading, what they're going to be hearing.
Okay, first, I'd like to explain one thing about myself. I will never be as big of an author as I am character. And I'm going to explain this here. Our fearless leader a while back and me worked together. And at the time, she was a reporter for the Joliet Herald. She still is. But she wrote an article about me in that sleep. And I still had to complain that I wasn't getting enough press coverage. At some level, she must have thought that was true. And to butter me up, she offered to put me in a novel that she was working on at the time. That or keep my blog, the different things we did at work, you know, that I was kind of like the head of, you know. And in any case, I decided that 1,000 years from now, you know, it's going to, you know, being in a novel would be better than having people who won't even know what a blog is. I don't know what a blog is, but so she did. She wrote me in as a character in a novel that had a sequel that then became a trilogy. And we argue about this all the time, what that trilogy is about. You know, we both agree it's a cautionary tale, but she thinks it's about not marrying vampires, not falling in love with vampires. I think it's about if Ed Calkins asked you to marry him, he might only ask once, you know, and we've had this running disagreement. So in any case, that made me a character. I started posting a couple pieces in her blog. And her fans, after she finished that sequel, she wrote a prequel to it. And it was about the 4 vampires that get with vampires she forgot. So her fans would have none of it. And to save her life, I wrote Ruthless. You know, it's my own novel. You know, so that's how I fell into this group. Actually, I was in this group before I was actually a member. You know, but like I said, as a character, not so in the anthology, you just got 2 pieces, and I don't. Well, one is dyslexia and the pawn guy. You know what? Though I'm going to go from. This is an excerpt from my novel. I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs because I could talk all day. I love to hear myself talk. Okay, so time was running out as I scanned the opposition's defenses. Sweat from my eyes dribbled down my face. With a little more than a minute left on the clock, I tried to keep my poise. Before the game started, the loss of this type seemed unthinkable, but there it was, with only seconds separating the winner from the loser, and the rest of my life in the balance. It was all on me to find an eligible man deep and uncovered. But I still had to deliver victory. No other options were present. I was tactically overmatched in time, and the time pressure forbade any chance for a win. Sure, many other 15-year-old boys must have felt the same pressure, except this game was one to set the tone for the rest of my life. There would be no second chances. There would be no redemption, no forgetting. I'm going to end there. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Holly Coop, and I enjoy writing poetry. I also like to draw and do photography. Tonight I'll read a piece from our anthology. I'm going to start with just a little explanation, and then I'll go into the piece. I can't even imagine the pain one feels after losing a spouse. Recently, a close family member had to experience this. In a vulnerable moment, he conveyed a small glimpse of what he was feeling, and it touched me. It made me wonder what it could possibly be like to be in his shoes at that time. And so I wrote this fictional portrayal of what a day in his life might be like. It's called Loss. Beautiful, fresh-cut flowers adorn a pearl white vase perfectly situated on an antique entryway tabletop. The colorful array of blooms mirrors those that also adorn the garden just outside the quaint, charming side porch of this house with a country flair. The vase, in and of itself, is a testament of beauty, with golden embellishments winding around the pearly hue of its body. Its breathtaking beauty is a hint of its class and elegance. A family heirloom, passed down from generations, but never finding its truest beauty until placed in the hands of my wife. The house is empty, and as I enter and close the door behind me, I am consumed by the deafening silence. I glance at the vase, which looks exactly as it did when I left the house less than a week ago. The blooms appear fresh despite the air of death that now lingers. I glance towards the staircase across from the entrance, and my eyes are drawn upwards to the landing atop the stairs and to the rail just outside of our bedroom at the top of the stairs. My mind wanders to memories. I am consumed with memories. How can a simple staircase, how can looking up at a landing spark so many memories fusing through my exhausted mind? I realize it's because I am not looking at just a staircase or just a landing. I am reliving a staircase lined with hollyberry garland and sparkling lights and grandchildren making their way down those stairs with anticipation and excitement on their faces, wondering what Santa left under Grandma and Grandpa's Christmas tree. My eyes well as I gather strength. I set my hat on the sofa in the living room where I left her, less than a week ago. She was sick, and I was headed to the hospital for surgery, a surgery I was not able to postpone any longer, although I wanted to. I wanted to stay in that living room. I wanted to tend to my sick wife, my wife who, a month ago, was cleaning up after her family. My wife who cared for everyone with the attentiveness of a saint. So much so, she often ignored her own health concerns, her own personal needs. I sit on the sofa and look towards the spot where year after year she put on display for all of our enjoyment the most spectacular Christmas tree one could imagine. More magical than Santa could have done himself. Every ornament hung artfully and with so much love and devotion to her family and our traditions. How can a week's worth of days hold the weight of a lifetime of sorrow? How can you wake one morning to joy and fullness, and then wake to another day drowning in the deepest part of loneliness you have ever experienced? As I ponder this with the heaviest heart that I could ever have thought would hang in my chest, I get up, walk past the staircase, and enter the dining room, her dining room. She made that room the most special room of the house, just with her elegant presence adorning it. Many hours she spent doing what she loved, singing. Her voice filled the room on the many days I walked past, back and forth, going from the kitchen to the living room, out onto the porch just outside the den, back and forth past the staircase, up the stairs, outside, downstairs, to and from work. Did I hear her then when her voice was painting the walls of that room? Did I notice the smile on her face when she sat there with her grandkids and played? Did I appreciate the many meals she cooked, the holidays hosted, the weddings and funerals she attended with me? Did I see her standing beside me during the most trying times of my life? Did I tell her enough, I love you, and I'm so happy you are my wife? She brought the beauty out in that vase by the entryway door. She made the staircase come alive with excited pitter-patter of children's toes past the hollyberry garland with the tiny pine cones. She fostered traditions making magic unfold. She cared cared for her family, protecting like a feminine lioness she was. And she touched the hearts of so many with her friendship. There has not been a more devoted daughter, sister, mother, and wife. My wife, yes, I did hear, I did see, I did appreciate, and I will forever miss my love. There has been loss. I have suffered the pain of losing many, many loved ones, but the empty I feel now is nothing I have ever known. The depths of this empty is not contained by the description of words. There is no way to describe. How does one begin to tell the story of oneself, separating from one's life source? When you have lost your lifelong mate, you have lost the largest part of your own being. How can half a soul feel joy? How can only memories fill my being with the energy needed to survive after losing my wife? I sit in the dining room, and in the deafening silence, I hear, not with my ears, but only within my heart, my half a heart, the whisper of the Lord, you can do all things in Christ who strengthens. Faith fills my half a heart with enough energy to carry on, and I trust will continue to sustain me until the time comes for me to once again be joined to my wife, when my heart will become whole again, and my soul will be fully filled with joy. Until then, I will spend many hours walking through that entryway, admiring the lovely staircase, enjoying holiday decorating with family in the living room, and sitting in this dining room where the essence of her soul remains. In the silence, I can hear her precious voice bouncing off the walls. And though I am empty with loss, this house is forever filled with her song. Thank you.
Good evening. How is everybody? Thank you for having us out tonight. My name is Sue Midlock. What I like to write is, I have a trilogy. It's a paranormal romance trilogy that takes place in Utica, Illinois. And I'm working on a new series that's a historical fiction that takes place in 1726 Dornoch, Scotland. Today I'm going to read the only story that I have in our anthology. It's called The Four-Ply Vampire. It's humorous, and I'm only going to read a little bit of it because I want you to read the rest and see what happens to all the toilet paper. It starts when COVID came about, and you know how that went with all the toilet paper and all that, you know, that was a mess. Anyway, here it goes. Here I sit, half mad with hysteria, with towers of toilet paper rolls around me. Yes, that's right. I bought out the store. No one, I mean no one, will get what my body craves. Toilet paper, its thickness, texture, and light scent drive me crazy. It was that lady in China. She did this to me. Made me a vampire of the toilet industry. Now, with this coronavirus, people are hoarding everything. They all think they're going to die. So what do they buy? My toilet paper. I was out one night. I needed my fix. 4-ply was my need this time. Its thickness, chewing the papery texture, having it stick to the roof of my mouth. Oh, Lord, I had to have it. All of it. But it would be a battle of wits. Now you have to read the rest.
I reminded people to bring their anthologies, and I left mine in the back. So, I don't write paranormal romance, but as Ed said, I do write some
She writes about
vampire.
me. She writes about me. Sorry, Denise.
So as I said, I don't write paranormal romance. I do write stories that have some supernatural elements. And I do even write children's stories that have some supernatural elements. The excerpt I'm going to read tonight actually was a piece that my publicist, because I had one once, had asked me to write when the publishing of the first book was pushed back. And she had booked me for some readings, and she said, you need to have something to read, so I suggest you write this. And it's an auxiliary piece to the first book, and it's called Snowbell. The autumn rain splashed against the patio glass and trickled in silent streams to muddy pools near the sliding door. I stood unblinking and watched it, relieved for dry, cozy shelter, and yet, wistful for the future my haughty recklessness had prematurely extinguished. I closed my eyes and recalled another rainy day years ago when, sitting cross-legged in a circle on the cold tile floor of the kindergarten room, we answered our teacher's question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Many of the replies included mommies, teachers, nurses, stenographers, for this was 1958 and few girls in Grover's Park aspired to much more. I, however, had already visited Europe twice with my parents and was more intrigued with airline uniforms than with famous landmarks and old museums. I happily blurted stewardess, but never in my most fanciful reveries did I imagine living out my days as a cat. And Angie, whose last name I still can't remember how to pronounce, will just tell you a little bit about her business and the book she is aspiring to write.
My name is Angie Agater, and not many people know how to say or pronounce or spell my name, so that's totally what my name is. I own a restaurant in Crest Hill called Fit Foundation, and what we do is we make healthy meals into go boxes. So I have a commercial kitchen on site, and we have lean meats and fresh veggies and homemade sauces, and so basically it's home cooking for people, and they get to bring it home and not cook it themselves. So I've been there for 8 years, and I am trying hard to write a cookbook actually right now. I think cooking is a lost art. My mom always cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I kind of had an idyllic childhood, and I did that for my kids, but a lot of people with their busy schedules don't do that anymore, and it's surprising how many adults and children don't know the first thing about cooking, which I think is a shame. Not only from the nutrition standpoint, but it's an art. I love food. So it's going to be very simple, where parents and kids can do it together. Very few ingredients, but it's going to taste really good. And it's going to explain why those ingredients are good for you, because a lot of the food we eat are not the stuff that I grew up on, the natural stuff. It has all these chemicals, and it's processed, and it's not good for you, and people don't understand that either. And so another thing I would just like to add a little bit about my background is that I've had this business for 8 years, but before that, well, I'm still a single mom. I have 3 children. They are all almost adults now, but when they were little, I was struggling, and I was probably at poverty level most of the time, just trying to raise them. And when I started this business, I had absolutely no money, no restaurant experience. I just had my God-given talent of the love of cooking. And so I always thought to myself, if I am ever in a position in the community where I have a voice, where I can help other people, that's what I want to do. So I'm very involved with the chamber, lots of charities, and I love outreaching to the community. I got to meet Denise because of it, and now I'm here with you guys, so it was an honor, and I'm blessed that I was able to give this
trying to set them up, well, not mind, I'll tell you about myself. My name is Dwayne Walton. I guess I'm what you call a charter member of WriteOn Joliet. I've been there since we were at was it the American Legion?
No, it was the Three Rivers Arts Council.
No, I mean before that it was the American
But
Legion.
that was just an event.
Well, I
It was a pre,
I was,
even before. He's been there since the first meeting.
yeah,
And before the first meeting.
I've been here since the beginning. And I wear many hats in the organization. I'm a writer, contributor, intrepid videographer, and I'm even on one occasion an interpretive dancer. But I get my writing sources from many different places. Just basically whatever captures my mind and comes out on the paper. And you just have, sometimes I just have to go where my inspiration takes me. And I'll read you where it took me at the end of 2020 when we had our writing assignment. We had to write on the phrase, "and the winner is." So this is what I came up with. And the winner is the dumpster fire. Yes, friends, the dumpster fire has been chosen as the official mascot of 2020, coming to us from 100% Soft, though he's anything but, and he best embodies this poop show of a year. Yes, the flames of adversity have burned brightening all through 2020. As the beer bug loomed large and supreme, other trials and tribulations surfaced. Deciding what mask to wear out of the many styles to choose from. Finding a mask you actually want to wear, one that says, "I hate wearing this," only for it to sell out. Can't imagine why. Attacks by murder hornets, attacks by screeching Karens, attacks by screeching protesters, attacks by screeching toilet paper hoarders. Being ordered to stay home unless you're a screeching protester. Being ordered to stay 6 feet apart unless again you're a screeching protester. Being ordered to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Being ordered not to engage the screeching protesters even as they smash your windows, burn down your business, and confiscate your drinks. Being ordered to listen to the morons, and the experts and the morons when you can't tell which is which. Being made a viral laughing stock where your feet catch on fire from a Molotov cocktail. Being attacked for getting married in a converted plantation. Being attacked for being on the wrong side of history, whatever that means. Being a screeching protester and not even knowing what you're protesting about. Being a screeching Karen, and the manager's nowhere to be found. Can't imagine why. Restaurants closing, libraries closing, churches closing, coffee shops closing. Missing friends, missing family, the death of Black Panther, the death of James Bond, the death of Darth Vader, the death of common sense, the death of common courtesy, the death of common civility, the death of desktop printers that are no longer made, 11-year-olds twerking, depression worsening, the stream of consciousness drying up, and so on. And yet, the dumpster fire smiles on through it all, burning but not consumed. And please note that he is the mascot of 2020, not the idol. How could this little guy possibly take the place of God? He's made in China, yet he burns brightly, perhaps signifying brighter days ahead. Please? Okay. Read you that one so I can read you this one. My collecting has tapered off in the last few years, such as the result of becoming practical. I hate being practical. But it hasn't fallen off completely. It has to be something particularly special. Something that grabs my attention and refuses to let go until I get it and take it home with me. Sven Gooley's action figures are a prime example, and so is 100% Soft's dumpster fire. I got the first one 3 years ago and immediately declared him the official mascot of 2020. Many fires burned hot that year, as I outlined in my writing assignment. Yet he smiled all through the flames. He sat atop my flat screen, reminding good times could still be had and better times had to be coming. And they did. Thank God. And with them came more dumpsters, more reminders that while we may not feel like or be able to smile, God still sees us through trying times. Different colors and designs, some glow in the dark, some light up, some come with the dog insisting this is fine. But all smile through the fires. They remind me of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel's 3 friends that refused to bow before Nebuchadnezzar's golden image and thrown into a fiery furnace. It went unharmed due to God's presence in the form of a Son of God, perhaps a pre-incarnate Christ. I don't know if they smiled during their time in the fiery furnace. I certainly wouldn't. But I'm sure they smiled when it was over and no harm befell them. I wouldn't blame them. I only smile when it's merited. I'm leery around people that constantly smile and tell everyone else to smile. It wouldn't be sincere. I've learned to own my emotions, acknowledge and release them in hopefully healthy ways. To myself in my journals if nobody else, and I use them in constructive ways, elaborating on them and putting them to good use. It's never about forced happiness. It's about enduring and knowing who will see us through, no matter what color they are. No matter what color we are, if we go in the dark or have battery-operated lights. God may not keep us out of the fire, but He'll be in it with us. I can't always be happy, but I can be thankful and grateful. Also emotions to be owned, used, and shared. And while I don't always smile through the fires, they'll do it enough for me. Enough for all of us.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure, why not?
Why do you have all those numbers?
Oh,
I mean, what one?
That's what we asked him when he brought to the meeting.
well, I had one and it did, and then they kept coming out with them. They kept coming out with different colors, different designs.
Oh, okay.
I don't have all of them, because a lot of them, they just like stall out. As soon as they're released, they stall out. You gotta move fast. So I'm fortunate to get the ones that I have here.
I suppose you let me hold one?
Oh, sure.
Thanks, Wayne.